Hello and welcome to this overview video for NeverAlone Guard Control. NeverAlone Guard Control is a security management program. It's designed to run in the control room of your security management company and can be used in different disguises, whether it's used for internal guards on a single site or whether it's used for distributed guards responding to alarm call-outs for customers across a larger area. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the software. It's going to take about 10-15 minutes to go through, but let's get on with it and log in. I'm going to log in as admin just to make sure we've got access to all the features to show you. If you're familiar with NeverAlone applications, you'll know that normally at this point an on-screen menu will pop up. For Guard Control, we've had to move the menu from the on-screen purely because there's a lot more screens involved. We've got the menu up here on the left-hand side, as with a traditional Windows application. I'm just going to go into the incident log for the time being, and we're going to show you how to log a basic incident. If you're familiar with the NeverAlone applications, you'll notice that the incident log hasn't changed that much. I'm just going to choose a call sign. I'm going to go with John Smith. You'll see on the right hand side here now that John's information has instantly popped up, so we've got it there if we need to drop John a call to clarify anything, or if the call drops when John's on the phone to us. Okay, I'm just going to go and choose a stakeholder. Stakeholders are our key clients, or our clients generally. So let's choose Cirrus Computing. Again, instantly on the right hand side you'll see you've got information popped up. So we've got Cirrus's office address. However, if we choose one of Cirrus's outreach sites, let's choose the Alphabet Building, you'll see over here that the address instantly changes and the telephone number changes to the outreach building. Toggling between these two fields changes the address. So if for any reason we need to get in touch with the head office because of this call, literally just click into the stakeholder field and the head office information will repopulate again. Okay, let's choose an alarm response and let's go for an intruder activation. You'll see that the system's popped up asking me how many hours. We can change this later, but I'm going to set it to 0 for the time being. This is how many hours the guard spent on site, and it's all to do with how much the customer is charged for the event, because intruder alarm activation is a chargeable incident. So we can set that on the category level database. Again, the categories that you see in front of you aren't a hard and fast category list, they're just a basic one that ships with the software. You can change these to your own, you can have several more categories, you can have less categories, and they can all do their own thing. Each different category categorizes differently on the list as well. So the color coding is different if there's an open one. As you can see, there's a lot of red on ours, which is where we've been playing with the intruder alarm activation function, which is a high priority categorization. The panic alarm activation would code as black. Ones where life is endangered on our system will generally encode to black, and so forth. I'm just going to put a summary on this. So we're going to say Zone 6. Zone 6 alarm. So there we go, and it's as simple as that. I can now save that. I can either task the job out to John Smith, who's selected, or I can choose another guard for it. To choose another guard, I'm just going to go straight back into the log. You'll see on the right hand side under staff involvement, John Smith is already logged on there, but I'm going to put another guard. We're going to choose Andy. There you go. Let's go for Andy Jones. So this adds Andy to the list as well. Very simply, we can add as many guards as we like, we can add suspects, and we can link this to other incidents. We can make additional notes, so I'm going to put a note on there saying site door open, appears someone inside, say. Okay, so I'm going to add that note. Then the control room would normally call that through to the police, so I'm going to make a note to mark the police as aware. It's asking me for the police log number. We can put that as an NA, that's no problem. There you can see it's marked on the log as police contacted. Escalated here is instantly flashed up to yes as well, meaning it's been passed over to an authority. Okay, we can also flip through on this screen. Before that, I could have gone into the security tab here, and you can see our client is on floor 2 of this building. You can see the codes to the doors and any alarms. You can also see the cancellation word. So if a customer phoned up with this word here, they would be able to cancel the alarm and stop the guys turning up, stop us calling the police, and stop any escalation. The next tab along here is the charging tab. As you can see, this one is chargeable. the reason it's chargeable is selected by the category. So alarm response, intruder alarm activation is set to charge the customer. You can set the charge on the individual incident. You can also set an additional charge per additional hour. So we've said 0, which means the total charge is £20. It's a basic call out. I'm going to change this to 2 hours because by the time all this is finished, the guard is going to be on site for another 2 hours extra. You'll see that it's added £24 there for the 2 additional hours. Again, that doesn't have to be a different rate. You can set the hourly rate to be the same as the initial rate. That's up to yourselves. And if there's an inconvenience or an indiscrepancy, we can discount this as well. So let's discount £4 off, round it down to £44. Sorry, round it down to £40. That will correct when it comes to the client being invoiced. Okay, I'm going to close this log off now. So I'm marking the incident as no further action required. We would have put our additional notes on there, but just purely for the demonstration, I'm just going to close it there. We've still got, down here on our log, an alarm activation to the same site, which is not completed yet. So I'm going to go into this one here. You'll see there's a couple of linked incidents. I'm going to link another incident. I'm just going to link our most recent incident there. So there you go, that's linked number 31, and I'm going to close this log as well just for completeness. So all these logs are linked together now. If I go into any one, you'll see the one that we've just created. There's a link in there, and by clicking on that I can pull up the additional logs. So we can click through. I'm just going to log another call now. We'll log it for the same client, we'll log it for Cirrus Computing, and we'll log it this time for their head office. This time round I'm going to log a theft. Let's go for theft of display stand. Okay, the summary, laptop computer stolen from display. Okay, I'm going to save that now so it's on the log, and again instantly I can go back into the log and I can see notes on there for this building, how we can get into the building effectively. We can see it's not a chargeable log this time on the charging tab, but I'm going to add a suspect. Somebody saw someone getting away, so I'm going to add a suspect now. We don't know his name, we know it was a male and we know he was 40 years old to 50 years old. Okay, we know he was stocky and we know he was wearing a grey tracksuit. Okay, there's no distinguishing features that we saw. The height was between 5'11" and 6'1". They know he was quite tall. And any facial features they didn't see. Hair was messy brown. And any other features. Let's go back to his gait as well. They saw he's got a limp on his left leg. Okay. Any other features and what they expect his behaviour, or what his expected involvement, and behaviour was. So I'm going to say on here that he was seen running away with sports bag on arm. Okay, so the status here, we can add a status to him. I'm going to put that he's a primary suspect at this stage. Okay, if you work in an environment where you know a lot of your regular criminals, you may have them already logged on the system. If you've caught them on site before, some people do photograph them. I'm going to go into list of known associates because as a controller, I know this sounds like someone on our list. I know this sounds like a chap called Steve Joseph that we've got on our list here. I must apologise, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for looking at this, but there are 1 or 2 celebrity photos on here now. We basically needed to get some photos of people that look a little bit dodgy just for the benefit of the demonstration without failing on data protection. So I'm going to choose Steve Joseph, who looks a lot like Tim Roth. And I'm going to confirm the selection there. So you'll see now 2 extra fields have popped up. I can see a known status, which is like a master status for Steve, is just to stay alert. And it's popped his name up as well. So I can copy his name into the system here. I don't have to do that, but it just makes it easier. So it gives him a name on the list. We can unlink him as well. If we realise that this is not the person, we can unlink the person there. Was his photo we've already seen, and I can view his Intel record, which has just popped up below. So there you go. There's Steve's intelligence record there. And we can see his MO there, we can see any other notes. So there's a weapons alert there under other notes. We can see his photo again, and we can see any linked incidents. I can go into all of these incidents just by double clicking and it pulls them up. So we can see there that Steve was involved on a shoplifting incident. And we can see Steve was involved on another theft from display stand. So we've got a bit of a pattern forming there. We can add any notes again in exactly the same way as we did before. We can mark as police called, ambulance called and fire brigade called as well. We can also print a copy of the incident off. That will print a copy to a PDF file, so you can then email that across or print it out as you need to. I'm just going to close this off now. Okay, so that's the core features of the logging software. There are several other features as well on the system. For example, if we know a log and we come back to a basic system and we know we want to get into open incident 29, we just go there, NeverAlone, and open incident 29, and it will pull that incident up. So you don't have to go through the log if you know the details of the one that you're looking at. We can also view all suspects there as well if you just want to familiarise yourself with them. Also, we can print a suspect gallery, for example, to give to your staff. This prints it to a PDF file, so it's going to take a couple of seconds. But if you want to give it to your staff, or if you're in a shopping centre environment and you want to provide it to your stakeholders or to the local police even, you can do. It only prints suspects who have been active in the past 12 months. But we can see here, it's a very basic report. I'm just going to zoom in there. And we can see the approximate ages, the names of the people and their current status. We can see here that Hannah is currently wanted. And we can see that Steve Joseph is just marked as stay alert. And then under the bottom here it shows how many incidents and when they were last active. That's as a PDF file, so we can then print that out to our local printer or we can send it across to other people. Other features we've got here on the guard menu up here. We can pull statement requests. I can mark an event as a controller as requiring a statement of the guards. So I can see here that I've got two statements relating to myself. The top one should be complete, so I'm going to go into that. The top one is a sealed statement, so I'm logged in as Andy. So Andy's statement is here now. And as I say, it's been sealed. I can now print that off and it will print a statement that, providing the information on there has been made effectively accurate and good in a traditional statement writing style, there's a good chance that Andy's not going to be bogged down making a statement to the police for hours on end, because his statement there is going to be fully covering of everything. This one here hasn't had a statement made yet, so I'm going to open it now. And you'll see the full name of witness is blank. This is because we may know him as Andy Jones. He may be, in the eyes of the law, he's Andrew Stephen Jones or Andrew Thomas Jones. So the full name of the witness for them to put in. You can then make your statement there, which is also spell checked when you leave it, so it's handy to know that your statement is going to be checked. Any internal notes, so anything you want your manager to see but you don't necessarily need the police to see or isn't relevant to your statement. And finally, once your statement is done, it's simply a case of putting the word complete in here, pressing the complete button and pressing ahead. What this does, it will print your statement out and it will seal your statement, so nobody else can tamper with that. Nobody else can add things to your statement, nobody can delete anything from your statement. Your statement is secure on the system. This is an important part of making sure that the chain of data stays clear. This part of the software can be accessed by any member of the guarding team logging into a spare terminal on NeverAlone. It doesn't have to be on your primary working system, and it doesn't use up a license when they're using the statement system. So you don't need to have specific licenses for it. Other reports that we can pull here. You've got invoice generation. So what that will do is it will generate a list of all the invoices for your customers if you've got the invoicing module added. So it will produce, invoice generation will produce a complete invoice. It will print the invoices from within the software. It will also email the invoices to them as a PDF file. Export invoices will export a list of generated invoices to your accountants that can be imported into the accounts system. And if you've got an external invoicing package that you use that generates all your invoices, you can export charged incidents, which what that does, it exports a CSV file of all of your incidents and everything that needs to be charged onto a customer, so that can be imported by your accountant and then added to your regular invoices. You can also set the system so that instead of using the internal reference for the client, it uses your account's reference. So for example, if customer on the system is 001 and in accounts they're known as CX1259, you can tell the system that they're the same thing and it will use that reference instead of using our reference. We can also administer our staff here as well. Let's just go into our staff records and find a member of staff. There we go. We're on to John Smith, his first member of staff on the system. You can see you've got basic staff information. You've got a photo. Obviously it's not quite John Smith, but it's how John Smith may look. You can store his next of kin information. You can tell it a little bit about his job and whether he's allowed to use the NeverAlone software. John Smith's the account I'm using now, so it's logged in as a supervisor. A log user is just the front end of the software. Guard notes and timesheets. These two features do not use a license on the software and will only let the guard into the guard menu. So for example, at the moment we've got statement requests. If we activated the time logging system, that would be on there as well. And we can see John's pay grade is set up. And we can see within the pay grade he's on the basic hourly band. That can all be changed as and when is needed. We've got his taxation information here as well. A history of John's training. You can see straight away the first thing that jumps out at you on there is that one of them is going red, which means it's coming up for renewal. You can pull an exception report at any time on staff that are up for renewal. We'll also set the system up so that nearer the time it automatically emails your customers. This is a feature that's on the development plan, so it will email your staff when their training is due to lapse, just to remind them. And then you've got the disciplinary record here where you can log any disciplinary type information. I think if we go on to one of the other guys here, I think maybe John Blobby. There you go. Andy Smith, you can see he's got a complaint against him. Been reported by a member of the public. And all this is logged. It can all then be printed out nearer the time for disciplinary reviews, for appraisals and so on. The other thing that the system does is allow you to keep a database of your training providers. So all the courses on there, where you buy them from, where's the best value for money, can automatically be used. If you use multiple training providers, it will automatically adapt the prices when you add a training course to a member of staff. And then we get into quality management. There's a very basic quality management system on there as well, which will allow you to keep track of how you're progressing with your ACS, with your ISO 9001 and so on. Basically just making sure you're ticking all the boxes. It's more for internal use than for passing on to the SIA, but nevertheless the feature's there if you want to use it. And finally the invoice configuration screen. This is the information that displays on the top of invoices. It's already set up, as you can see, for the business licensing when it comes in the UK in the new year. But again, it's very basic stuff. It's just what appears on the invoices and how you want it to look, just to make the invoices nice and presentable to your clients. This is pretty much as much of an overview as we can give you on the system without having a specific need. But if there's anything specific you'd like to talk about with the NeverAlone software, whether it's event control or guard control, give the office a call on 0845 6899 364 or drop us an email at sales@neveralonesoftware.com. And I thank you for watching, and we'll be in touch and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.